Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Brooklyn City Council to order. Mary Jo, could you do the roll call, please?
Kathy Pucci.
Here.
Mary Belbeer.
Here.
Kevin Tansky.
Here.
Art Politsky.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
He's excused, absent.
Meg Ryan Shaki. Here. Andy Selhertz.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. And once you're standing, please stay standing. We're going to have interim pastor Jim DeBall of the Brooklyn Reformed Church do a prayer for us. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stand.
Please pray with me. Lord God, I thank you for this gathering tonight. I pray that your wisdom would rest upon the people gathered here, that decisions will be made that are in accordance with your will and that follow your wisdom. I pray for peace on this city and on these council people, on the mayor, on the police, on the families in the city, and on the school children here. Protect all of them from the violence and other things that happen in other communities. I pray that you will add again your wisdom to this council and your protection to these people. I pray all these things in your great name. Amen.
This evening, the agenda for the meeting is approval of the minutes of May 29th, 2018. We'll have a public session. We'll have reports of committees, commissions, and boards, council reports, mayor's report, and director's report. We'll also cover two requests. I'll go into detail about the numbers on them when we actually read the requests. One is a bid approval for traffic safety lighting. The other is an RFP approval for pool filters. In old business, we have for third reading and adoption, ordinance number 2018-17, authorizing the mayor to enter a ground lease with Interlogic Solar LLC for the development, design, installation, and operation of a solar-powered electric generation facility on a portion of land located at 9400 Memphis Avenue. When we get to this point, we'll have Mr. Butler explain a couple of changes that have been amended into this. The other part of old business is ordinance 2018-49. It's going to be for third reading and adoption, repealing ordinances 2014-4 and 2011-67 as they relate to the community reinvestment area tax agreements with 4476 Ridge Road Holdings Inc. and Cleveland Tech Solutions LLC. This is actually the child care facility on the old library on Ridge Road. In new business, we have ordinance 2018-52. This is on first reading. It's to amend section 967.12 of the codified ordinance of the city of Brooklyn, Ohio, entitled Enforce 3 Program Orders. This legislation that's been introduced by Kathleen Pucci. I believe in her reports that she will give further explanation on this. We also have ordinance 2018-53, first reading, establishing fees ranges for the registration for participation in youth, adult, and senior teams and leagues through the Brooklyn Recreation Department. And also we have ordinance 2018-54, authorizing the mayor to enter into a job retention creation grant agreement with TRG Studios, Inc. At this moment, I'd like to we've sent out the minutes for the meeting of May 29th, 2018. I'd like to see if I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve as amended, because I think Mary Jo indicated that there were some changes that were made.
Second. To approve as amended, Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Art Politsky.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki. Yes. Andy Selhertz.
Yes. At this time, we will have the public session. If anyone in the audience has anything to say for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward. State your name and address and you will be recognized. Please remember to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. All right. At this point, we will have reports of committees, commissions, and boards. First up tonight is the Finance Committee, and it will be handled by Councilwoman Pucci.
Good evening. The Finance Committee did meet earlier this evening at 6:30. This is a public meeting and all are welcome to attend. We recommended approval for the following items. The bid approval for the traffic safety lighting. This is for the uninterruptible power supply installations for our traffic lights. We received one bid from Signal Service in the amount of $65,994. The engineer's estimate for the project was $75,000. Next, we authorized recommending that we enter into an agreement with Skoda Construction, and this is for the complete filtration and recirculating systems for the John M. Coyne Recreation Center Natatorium indoor pool. And we received one bid in the amount of $189,814. Next, this is an item that is not on our agenda this evening, but at the last Finance Committee meeting, the committee voted to recommend that we apply for a community development block grant with the county, and it was going to be for a purchase of property on Tiedemann Road, and we have since revised that, and we're now going to focus the monies for purchase of properties on Memphis Avenue. And the reason we're doing this is because the census tracts in this area on Memphis are low to moderate income tracts, and we will have a better chance at getting the grant because we will get the points for that. So the Finance Committee recommended that we move forward with the revised project for the CDBG. For our old business, I'll just focus on what's up for third reading and adoption this evening. And the first one is ordinance 2018-17. This is authorizing the agreement with the ground lease for Enerlogic Solar LLC. I'm not sure if Mr. Butler is going to give a report on this later, but the high level is we're going to be getting $400,000 payment up front, and this is for the remaining 30 acres over the unused landfill. We had the project with the county that we are already in motion with, and this is for the remaining land to have solar panels installed. Next is ordinance 2018-49, and this repeals the Community Reinvestment Area Tax Agreement with 4476 Ridge Road Holdings. As Mr. Selhertz mentioned, this is the child care facility that's in the former old library building, and basically because they are no longer going to move forward with it, a planned addition, we're just rescinding this agreement where they were going to get a community reinvestment rebate or tax abatement. Then under new business is ordinance 2018-53, which is up for first reading. This establishes fee ranges for registration and participation in youth, adult, and senior teams and leagues. Basically, this is going to consolidate everything relating to teams and leagues. So for youth, adult, and senior participation fee schedule, there'll be a range of $25 to $100. For youth, adult, senior team league fee schedule, this will be between $125 and $600. And finally, we have ordinance 2018-54, which is up for first reading, authorizing the mayor to enter into a job retention and creation grant agreement with TRG Studios. They do plan on moving into space in the old American Greetings property. They will give us a commitment of 12 years. The maximum grant amount that they will receive is $56,250. This will be spread out over 3 years with 30%, 20, and 10 and they're going to make a total investment of $1.160 million in the facility, and this is just on first reading this evening. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. The next report we'll have is from the Recreation Board and is from Councilman Tansky.
Thank you, Mr. Sellers. Summer basketball courts are open to the public 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and open to Brooklyn residents from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. through August 31st, weather permitting. The courts will be closed on July 4th from 1 p.m. until 8 p.m. All residents must stop by the Recreation Center and show proof of residency with your current Rec Center ID card and receive a wristband for the day. If a resident brings a guest, the guest must accompany the resident to the Rec Center and pay $2 to enter the courts. No one will be permitted to enter the sport court without a wristband after 1 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next report we'll have is the Domestic Abuse Commission, and it's from Councilwoman Ryan Shockey.
We have a meeting on this Thursday, June 14th at 6:30 at the fire station community room, so it's the back of the fire station. On the agenda includes approval of minutes from the May meeting, information about Greater Cleveland shelters available, domestic and elder abuse, teen dating, community partnerships, and other items that may come before the commission. So I hope to see you there Thursday at 6:30 at the fire station. That completes my report.
Thank you. Next report we'll have is from the Board of Zoning Appeals, Commissioner Kolsar.
Thank you, Mr. Sellers. The next meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, scheduled for June 21st, has been canceled. No applications were received. Thank you. That concludes my report.
And the next report is from the Planning Commission and also Commissioner Kolsar. No report. Thank you. Economic Development Committee, we actually met this evening at 5:45 in the conference room. The agenda was, we had approval of the minutes from May 29th, 2018. The second item on the agenda was to review and make recommendation on ordinance 2018-54, authorizing the mayor to enter into a job retention and creation grant agreement with TRG Studios, Inc. TRG Studios is moving into the American Greetings facilities. They shall lease real estate property located 1 American Way, Room 4, permanent parcel number 431-05-006. They will upgrade 56,000 square feet of lease space with IT and tenant improvements for an approximate cost of $1,160,000. The project will involve a total investment plus or minus 10% by TRG Studios for that amount. Commencement of these improvements to the building and IT upgrades will begin on July 1st, 2018 and will be completed by December 31st, 2018, plus or minus 30 days. The amount of grant is 30% of total income taxes paid to the city of Brooklyn for a 3-year period. The first year is, the amount of grant is $15,750. Second year is $18,750. Third year is $21,750. Total grant is $56,250. Economic Development Committee recommended approval to the Finance Committee and Council for that. As Ms. Pucci also mentioned, we reviewed a proposed application to the CDBG grant, looking at the different properties, and also recommended to the Finance Committee and Council for approval on that. And that was the conclusion of the meeting. Public Works, we had a meeting at 6:15 this evening. Present in the meeting were Councilman Tansky and Councilwoman Pucci. We discussed, we revisited the idea of conversion to LED street lighting on our main thoroughfares. We've had a number of vendors the administration has where they've come in and offered various programs to us. The problem still is First Energy owns the utility poles, etc. Two of the offers or proposals by companies did not take this into account, which made it more almost a prohibitive type action. going to these two other companies. We've looked at the cost savings proposed by First Energy. First Energy is actually going into Lakewood right now and working on a program with them. If we did the whole city with LED street light, annual savings would be approximately $65,000 a year in electricity cost to the city. The committee has proposed to finance and to council to go ahead with an OPEC grant to pay for lighting on Ridge Road, Tiedemann Road, Tiedemann from American Way to Brook Park, and also Bidoff from Tiedemann to Ridge. It'll cover approximately 180 fixtures. With that replacement program, and it costs $301 per light fixture head. The city will actually use the NOPEC grant, and it will also contribute roughly around $16,000 to $17,000 of the city money. Public Works Committee recommended and approved that we go ahead with this project to council and to the Finance Committee. And that concludes the Public Works report. We will now have reports of council. This evening we will begin with Councilwoman Pucci.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank all the volunteers who came out for the Big Creek cleanup that we conducted on June 2nd. We really had a great turnout, including our very dedicated Boy Scouts that are always there to assist. I would like to give a special thanks to Jan Ripka of Soil and Water and Mary Ellen Stasek from Friends of Big Creek. And also to our own Brooklyn Marcos Pizza. They donated all the pizza that morning for the volunteers. So I really appreciate them doing that. I don't know if people have heard the publicity. It's been on some of the news channels and also in the paper about the problems relating to recycling and what a serious problem the contamination of recycling is presenting. And basically this means that people put non-recyclable items in with the recycling. And the rates for this problem are going up all over the place, and it's creating serious situations at the recycling plants because they have to spend time and money to sort out all these items that can't be recycled. There was even an article in the paper, I think it was a couple days ago, that the city of Cleveland is going back to their policy where they fine residents $100 if they're not recycling appropriately. They had about a 2-year moratorium on this while they had a big education initiative to make sure residents were aware of the proper way to recycle. But it's to the point now where entities in this business are very concerned that some of the recycling places will either shut down or refuse to take recyclables from different places where there's this high rate of contamination. So I know that we had an effort this past spring to educate residents on the proper way to recycle. We are, of course, tied to Cleveland because that is where we take our garbage and our recycling. So I would just ask people, you know, if you have a question, contact someone in the city, but it's very important that non-recyclable items are not placed in the recycling. Now, we want you to recycle everything you can. It's just important that they are actually items that can be recycled. Regarding ordinance 2018-52, which has to do with the forestry program orders, frequently we have situations between neighbors where there's a resident that has like a tree that has a problem or a really large shrub, and in general there really hasn't been a lot that the city's been able to do because it's considered a civil matter between the two neighbors. So what this amendment will do is, not in all cases, it's certainly not going to solve all those solutions or all these situations, but where there's something legitimately wrong with the tree or a shrub and it becomes a menace or a hazard to the public, which would include abutting neighbors, this will give the city a little bit more authority to be able to step in And also, if the owner of the tree or shrub does not cooperate, we would have the authority then to remove it and then bill them for the cost. So I thank my colleagues for their support of this. It's certainly not going to help in all the situations where we have these disputes, but there have been, over the last few years, some areas where I think this really will help, and it's going to be another tool that the city can use. So, and I'd also like to thank Mr. Butler for his assistance with this. And finally, I'd like to congratulate all of our graduates at every level. It's a very exciting time for graduates and their families. It's a time filled with hope, promise, and possibilities. So we're very proud of all their accomplishments and congratulate them as they start a new chapter in their life. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Councilwoman Delvera.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on a subject that has been a matter of concern in Ohio for quite a while. Hopefully it doesn't concern too many people here in Brooklyn, but it is a problem to people throughout the state, and that is the so-called payday loan situation. Basically, it involves people who can't consistently make it from paycheck to paycheck, and they have to borrow a few bucks just to get along, to feed their kids and whatever. In 2008, we did pass a law capping the borrowing rate at 28%. But after 2008, lenders slithered through a loophole legislators refused to close. As a result, Ohio earned the reputation as a place where ruining the lives of working mothers who need to borrow a few bucks to feed their children is viewed as public policy. Hopefully not anymore. Consumer advocates were gearing up to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot in November to correct the problem. But now our politicians have taken action. House Bill 123 was passed last Thursday. It is a payday reform bill that powerful payday loan lobbyists had blocked for a year. Basically, the bill closed the loopholes, making Ohio the worst state for its citizens who must make the short-term payday loan to sustain their family. There will be reasonable limits on interests, fees, collection charges, etc. Payday loans will always be a sad commentary for those who use them, but at least it's not the horrific situation it has been, providing of course the state Senate goes along with it. I'd like to thank Pastor Duvall for the opening prayer. I know he is a member of the Brooklyn Reformed Church, and what a wonderful little church that is. My son was there, and not my daughter, my son was there for the daycare years and years ago, and it was just wonderful. I thank you and I welcome you here, but I also want to remind folks that within that church they do so many wonderful things. They have what's called Christ Cupboard Ministry there, and it's run by, once again, Mr. Bonansky. And they are having another one of their wonderful giveaways. It's July 21st. It's going to be on a Saturday. They have all kind of clothing giveaways. They'll have some coats, I think, but not a lot. They may have been lightly worn, but not the new ones from Coats for Kids. And they give you a light luncheon, and it's if anybody's in need or you can pass the word around, please come. And they're very welcoming, and they'll help you in any way they can. I know in October they have another one, and I believe there's going to be one at the Brooklyn Acres. So they are true imitators of Christ. Secondly, our Brooklyn Library right here in our city has lunch for children. It's for children 18 years and younger. They serve from 11:45 to 12:30, Monday through Friday, and it goes on till August 10th. And today, just today, Monday, they fed 22 children. And the food is from the Cleveland Food Bank. If you're interested, you can call 398-4600. You don't need a library card, but once you come and have lunch, it may be a good idea to get one if you don't have one, and it's open to everyone. So please keep that in mind for kids. It's nice that they have a hot lunch, especially if moms are working and they can just go up there. I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it's a hot lunch. I think it's more or less a cold sack, sandwich type lunch. So that pretty much completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Belver. Next up is Councilman Tansky.
Thank you. Ordinance 2018-17, authorizing the mayor to enter into a ground lease with Enerlogic Solar LLC for the development, design, installation, operation of a solar-powered electric generation facility on a portion of the land located at 9400 Memphis Avenue. The Sustainability Committee had asked Law Director Mr. Butler to continue in negotiations to get additional rent monies for the remainder of acreage to be used by Enerlogics for further solar use. Mr. Butler has reached an agreement with Enerlogics. Section 8 of the ordinance reads as such: rent payments. Rent to the city will be a fixed sum of $20,000 per year prepaid for the 20-year duration of the operations period. Base rent plus additional rent equal to $4,500 per megawatt DCP per year prorated for any megawatts over 4.25 megawatt DCP additional rent. All base rent shall be due within 30 days of the commercial operation date in the amount of $400,000. Notice of commencement of commercial operations shall be provided by tenant to the city in writing. Additional rent incurred in any year shall be due on January 1st of the following year. If tenant terminates this agreement in accordance with Section 4B, then no base rent will be due. Any payments previously made by tenant will be refunded in full. The city will prosper on this language in Section 8 of this ordinance. A $40,000 increase from $360,000 to $400,000 that will be prepaid for the remainder of the acreage in the landfill. I want to thank Director Mr. Butler for his aggressiveness in getting more rent income for the city. Since I established the Sustainability Committee, this committee has recommended over $750,000 rent monies to the city on landfill that is unbillable for years to come. Also, I want to thank the entire administration, especially Mayor Katie Gallagher, for their effort and support working with the committee and myself to make this ordinance a reality. I would urge all council members to approve ordinance 2018-17 as amended. Mr. Butler, is there anything that you would like to add, especially on the fees in this ordinance? If you could, please.
Councilman Tansky, nothing on the, Mr. Chair, nothing on the fees, Councilman, and I'll just reserve any additional background for my report or for an appropriate time during tonight's meeting. Thanks very much.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up is Councilwoman Polinsky.
Thank you, Mr. Selhertz. Good evening. On Memorial Day last year, the Laurel Garden Club purchased and dedicated Blue Star and Gold Star markers for Veterans Memorial Park. Our thanks go to businesses and individuals who made monetary donations and those who worked on the details to make this project a success. Ms. Faye Harris and I were co-chairs on the project. Well over 300 Brooklyn residents and visitors were present, including Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur, Garden Club of Ohio President Deanna Stearns, John Murphy, United States Air Force veteran from American Legion Post 269, the Blue Star Mothers of Ohio Chapter 26 were also present, and a Brooklyn Gold Star mother helped to unveil the Gold Star marker. Our thanks go to Marty Reaney and the Service Department for installing the markers and preparing the site for our planting. Ms. Faye Harris sent briefs to the Garden Club of Ohio, and thanks to her excellent reporting, we received 4 awards at the Garden Club of Ohio Convention in Cincinnati on June 7th, 2018. They were Blue Star Memorial Award, 2nd place, Blue Star Landscaping Award, 1st place, Gold Star Memorial Award, 1st place, Gold Star Landscaping, 1st place, and a $75 check to the club. Brooklyn's Laurel Garden Club was the 2nd garden club in the state to dedicate a blue and gold star at the same time. A student from the University of Toledo and the local Toledo Garden Club beat us by 6 months, but Brooklyn is still first. That ends my report. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up is Councilwoman Ryan Shockey.
Good evening. I just want to take the time to encourage residents to get involved in the City of Brooklyn. There are a variety of boards, commissions, and groups throughout the city of Brooklyn and independently run, such as the Laurel Garden Club, that allow residents to get involved in their city, meet neighbors, and use your skills or talents for the benefit of our greater community. What makes Brooklyn great is the small town feel around the urban center of Cleveland. This summer, I encourage residents to meet a new neighbor or stop by a meeting or event around Brooklyn. There are plenty of opportunities around there, out there. Also, going off of what Councilwoman Pucci said about recycling, great resource, again, just to remind everyone, www.cuyahogarecycles.org has information all the time. They also have a Facebook page on what is recyclable curbside for Cuyahoga County. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I only have one item. Came aware in the last few days, part of our Brooklyn family, the Zarins family, had a loss. They lost their mother on Thursday evening. And the reason you might remember the name Zarins is they had a wrestler in the family. Andrew graduated this year. We've talked a lot about him in the past few years. He's actually probably the best wrestler in Brooklyn high school history. With the mother being now gone, departed, leaves a family of 5 kids. So what's happening now is Austin, the older son, Andrew, they were going to go to college. They're going to forego that for now. There on Facebook is a fund to kind of help them along. If you have time, money, please go ahead and do so if you're so inclined. We have Bob Hennings in the audience today too. If you know Bob, if you wish to donate through him to the family, please go ahead and go donate to it. And that concludes my report. Next up is the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Sellards. I just wanted to give a shout out and thank you to all the residents who came out for the Big Creek cleanup, as well as cleaning Memorial Park. And always Boy Scouts Troop 319 for their service. They're there every year cleaning out the kingdom. I know that when I was down in Memorial Park cleaning up, there wasn't that much to do. So that really speaks volumes to the employees in the city, the recreation department and the service department. It looked great down there. So thank you for everything you do on a daily basis, keeping our parks clean. Also wanted to say congratulations to the 2018 high school graduates. I was at the graduation ceremony on the 3rd, and every year it's a great ceremony, and these kids are on to bigger and better things every year. Classes seem to be getting more and more scholarships, more kids off to college, and the AVID program that some of these kids go through where their parents had never been to college themselves, and it just really sets them apart and ready to go to college. So congratulations to our Brooklyn grads. I had coffee with the mayor last Friday, had a good turnout, and I will be taking that on the road. So the next neighborhood meeting will be at 4617 Tiedemann, and that will be on June 20th at 7 p.m. I have a series of other meetings scheduled. They're out there on the city's newsletter and Facebook, and there will be flyers dropped if you're in that particular area. Also, we have the citywide garage sale coming up on June 23rd and 24th. There's still time to sign up if you want to be a home that hosts a garage sale. You could pull a permit right here at City Hall, or you can go right online, fill it out, or email Dawn Neal in our building department, DNEAL@brooklynohio.gov, and she can send you a form electronically. And last, great news, City was awarded a 2018 master plan update. So we haven't had our master plan updated since 2006. And this $50,000 grant will help update the master plan. I want to give a big thank you to Meg Ryan-Shockey, who actually wrote up the application for our award, and Andy Udris, who worked to put some additions in there. And so thank you for that, and I look forward to rolling this out so we can update our master plan, see what residents are looking for. If you can recall, we were talking about a city center plan that was mainly built off the concept of the 2006 master plan. So if we take a look at what residents are looking for now, I think a lot of residents have changed since that initial planning stage, and so I'm anxious to see how this master plan update will work out. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we'll have director's reports, and there is only one report tonight. It's from the law director, Kevin Butler.
Thanks, council members. I just wanted to alert you to the fact that House Bill 478, which was passed earlier this year in the Ohio General Assembly and goes into effect later this year, significantly modifies what municipalities may do with respect to the regulation of their rights of way, as those relate to small cell facilities, which are towers erected by telecommunications providers in order to create a more robust broadband wireless infrastructure. So the city has to scramble to enact some legislation that develops that would amount to a comprehensive right-of-way ordinance and some design guidelines that are applicable to our public rights of way. We have a draft ordinance in the works right now, and we'll introduce it at the next meeting that accomplishes the first of those two things, and we'll continue to work on the design guidelines probably throughout the summer, and we will present them to you sometime after the break. And then I would just ask for your consideration at that point. But I want to let you know that this is important to us because without these kinds of regulations locally in place, the state law doesn't do much to protect municipalities from an overbuilding of the infrastructure in the public right-of-way. And you can wind up seeing all sorts of new towers and poles where they hadn't existed previously. Thanks.
Thank you.
May I be recognized?
Yes.
Mr. Butler, I have a question. Are we still do we have a moratorium that's still in effect? Or is that expired?
That has expired.
Okay. Do we need to have these in place before the August 1st date that this goes into effect?
No.
Okay.
We don't. We need to have them in place before the time period within which an application would be due to be approved or rejected expires. That'll give us through the summer.
Okay, so we won't have a problem if we get an application in, and then we enact the rules?
Correct.
That won't be a problem?
Shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, we don't anticipate that's going to happen. And worst case scenario, we could ask for a special council meeting, but I think we're going to be fine in the meantime. Thanks.
All right. Next, we'll get into the requests. First one is bid approval for traffic safety lighting. Just noticed we also have a typo in the letter from the police chief. In the first paragraph, the amount is listed as $65,994. In the second paragraph, it's listed as $65,499. The $65,994 is the correct amount, and I'll read you the letter. Dear Mayor Gallagher and members of council, at 1 p.m. local time on Friday, June 8, 2018, the city received bids for the bid of traffic signal uninterruptible power supply installations. Engineer's cost estimate for this project is $75,000. We received one bid from Signal Service Company in the amount of $65,994. Based upon my review of the bids submitted by Signal Service Company, I hereby request authorization to enter an agreement with Signal Service in the amount of $65,994 to complete the traffic signal uninterruptible power supply installation project. I've attached their proposal for your review. If approved, they anticipate starting work within 30 days after approval and no more than 60 days to complete the work. Sincerely, Scott Milkey, Police Chief, City of Brooklyn.
Move to award the bid to Signal Service for $65,994.
Second.
To award the bid, Kathy Pucci?
Yes.
Mary Belbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes. Next one we have is an RFP approval for pool filters. This was discussed by Councilwoman Pucci before. I'll read the letter from our Service Director, Mr. Verba. June 6, 2018, Dear Mayor and members of Council, on June 6, 2018, requests for proposals were issued for the installation of the complete filtration and recirculating system for the John M. Coyne Recreation Center and Natatorium indoor pool. We consulted with OP Aquatics, who is our supplier for our chemicals for the natatorium, and they supplied us with 4 reputable contractors who specialized in this work. Requests for proposals were also issued on April 18th, 2018 and May 16th, 2018, but the city did not receive any responses. Some contractors found it difficult to submit a proposal because of prevailing wage being used in this project. Some contractors were too busy to make a submittal and some needed more time. We extended 2 more times to meet their demands. On June 6, 2018, we finally received 1 submittal from Skoda Construction, Inc. in the amount of $189,814. The city has budgeted $214,500 for the combination of the pool boilers and filter project in the 2018 capital budget. The boilers will be installed by the K Company in an amount of $14,943.17, bringing the total of the 2 combined projects to $204,757.17, which is under budget by $9,742.83. With the combination of the boiler installation, pool painting, and filter replacement, the projects must all be carefully scheduled so that the pool will not be closed for an extended amount of time. With the current lead time of 8 to 10 weeks for the delivery of the filters, I hereby request authorization to enter into an agreement with Skoda Construction in the amount of $189,814. I have attached their qualifications and experience. Sincerely, John Verber, Director of Public Service.
Move to award the bid to Skoda Construction for $189,814.
Second.
To award the bid, Kathy Pucci?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes. Next, we have an old business resolution 2018-4. It's on the second reading, adopting the tax budget for fiscal year 2019. Next, we have ordinance 2018-17. It's going to be on for third reading and adoption as amended. It's authorizing the mayor to enter into a ground lease with Enerlogic Solar LLC for the development, design, installation, and operation of a solar-powered electric generation facility on a portion of land located at 9400 Memphis Avenue.
I move we amend, or did you want to give an explanation first?
Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but there are a couple of amendments that have been made since the introduction of the ordinance. The first amendment that's been made has been the third whereas clause, the addition of the third whereas clause to the ordinance text itself, and section 2 has been inserted into the ordinance as well. First whereas clause says the landfill property is no viable economic use as a landfill following its closure, and thus that portion of the property qualifies for urban renewal and redevelopment. And then section 2 reads that the lease of the landfill site for solar energy development qualifies as an urban renewal and redevelopment project in light of the lack of any viable economic use of the landfill absent such a lease. Those are the 2 changes to the text of the ordinance, and then of course, as detailed by Councilman Tansky and others, Councilwoman Pucci from tonight's Finance Committee meeting, the section regarding the lease payments, the rent, section 8 of the lease has been amended, and additionally, section 11A has been amended to reflect that the city is going to be responsible to pay only up to $10,000 of initial engineering, permitting, construction costs, after which the tenant is going to be responsible for all of those costs and any additional costs going forward. So those 2 provisions of the lease having been changed, we would ask for a motion to amend tonight to account for those changes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Move to amend as was read into the record by Director Butler.
Second.
To amend, Kathy Pucci?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Introduced by all, suspend the rules as amended.
Second.
To To suspend the rules, Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Barb Politzky.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
To adopt as amended, Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Barb Politzky.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes. Next is ordinance 2018-49, third reading and adoption, repealing ordinances 2014-4 and 2011-67 as they relate to the community reinvestment tax area agreements with 4476 Ridge Road Holdings, Inc. and Cleveland Tech Solutions, LLC.
Move to adopt.
Second.
To adopt, Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Barb Politzky.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes. Last on old business is ordinance 2018-51 for second reading and submitted of annual appropriations. In new business, on first reading, we have ordinance 2018-52, first reading, to amend section 967.12 of the codified ordinance of the City of Brooklyn entitled Forestry Programs Orders, and that was described by Councilwoman Pucci. Next is the first reading for establishing fee ranges for registration for participation in youth, adult, and senior teams and leagues through the Brooklyn Recreation Department. And they gave us ranges for youth, adult, and senior participant fee schedule is from $25 to $100. Youth, adult, senior team league fee schedule is going to be anywhere from $125 to $600 on that. And that is on first reading. And also on first reading is ordinance 2018-54, authorizing the mayor to enter in a job retention and creation grant agreement with TRG Studios, Inc. The next meeting, we're hoping to have it on second reading and also have it passed by then to get them in motion. Any other items from council?
May I be recognized?
Yes.
I too would like to thank interim pastor DeBald from Brooklyn Reformed Church, and thank you not only for leading the prayer but also for staying for the entire meeting. We appreciate your presence. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
To adjourn, Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Barb Politzky.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Thank you.